So I want to start this episode a little bit differently. I normally start off just giving a general explanation of the result, how upset I am or how happy I am. I'm going to start today by saying a massive congratulations to Nottingham Forest. I thought they were absolutely fantastic today. They've got a really good squad of young players as well. Lots of young players with a mix of experienced players, and they 100% deserve to get this result. So everything I say in this video, I mean, yes, of course, I'm a little bit salty, as some people would say. I'm a little bit upset because, with the holders, we should be going further than the third round. But I'm not taking anything away from Nottingham Forest. I mean, they were brilliant. They really were. So I want everyone to take what I say in this video with a pinch of salt. I'm just a little bit emotional about the game afterwards. Not like I'm going to cry or anything. I mean, the other emotional feeling, when you're just drained and just generally upset at what's happened. It's embarrassing. That's the first thing I want to say, really. It is embarrassing as a football club as big as Arsenal. And yes, Nottingham Forest are a big club as well. They've got a great history. They've fallen over the last 10, 20 years a little bit. But from what I've seen, and by the way they've been playing, I feel like they are on the way up. They will eventually find themselves back in the Premier League, I'm pretty sure. Especially if they keep on to these young talents they've got. Brereton, however you want to say his name, was brilliant tonight. And, Cash was fantastic. They've just got a really good setup there, so well done to them. But it was embarrassing tonight that a club like Arsenal that has so much money and so much quality in their squad can turn up to a game without half their best players, let's be honest, which is disrespectful in itself. I think the lineup today was laughable. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and get the lineup up here so I can have a look as I'm talking about it. I feel like in the past, Wenger hasn't disrespected these competitions as much as he does these days. We've won the FA Cup 3 times in the last 4 years, and he's taken it seriously. But tonight, with the lineup, you could say it's a mix of our second team and reserves, and it is disrespectful. It's as if you're saying, look, we're going to Nottingham Forest. It's going to be an easy win. Let's go ahead and play some of the kids. Let's give Theo a run out. It's not good enough. Nottingham Forest aren't a bad squad at all. Why are we going there with that mentality that we're going to put up a weaker squad because we'll win? It's just not good enough. And I'm sure Wenger set up the team today thinking it was enough, but it clearly wasn't. So I'm going to be really brutal in this video because there are a lot of players, not just that play today, but in general at Arsenal Football Club, that are not good enough. They are not up to the level. They do not show enough quality or enough promise sometimes to wear the Arsenal shirts, which is a shame. It really is. So let's have a look at this lineup now. I'm sure I'll put it up on the video so you can see it as I'm going along. Ospina, I feel like, was actually one of our better players today. He didn't make any major mistakes. I feel like, he only plays half our games. Well, not even half the games. He only plays outside of the Premier League, so he doesn't get a consistent amount of game time. But when he is called upon, he does well. He's a very agile keeper, very good at getting down low, gets beaten in the air every now and again because he's not exactly the tallest. But I thought tonight he was okay. He wasn't at fault for anything. He really wasn't. But then we move into defence. We had Debussy at right centre-back, although he basically played right wing half the game. Mertesacker and Holding at left centre-back. Holding was out of his depth, completely lost today. I'm not sure what's gone wrong, what's happened to him. He looked really good when we first signed him. He had a few good games for us. He's kind of been in and out of the squad since, and he just doesn't look confident right now. But I think Holding is a good player, and I do see something in him. I think today was an off day. I think he's going through a bit of a rough period right now, so I'm kind of willing to cut him some slack. Today was poor, very, very poor. He looked completely out of his depth, like I said. And that's against Nottingham Forest. Imagine if we were up against Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, whatever it may have been, Man City. But Mertesacker, ex-German international, World Cup winner, arguably our most experienced player, and everyone loves him because he's Mertesacker. He's BFG, right? But tonight was laughable. He got beaten to the ground by Brereton. Just made him look like a child. Mertesacker literally looked like a child tonight. He was absolutely woeful. He is so slow. The only thing that makes him even remotely usable in this squad is he's got the footballing brain. He's a smart, intelligent guy. He knows where he needs to be. But he hasn't got the legs. He hasn't got the pace. He hasn't got the agility. He can't. He just can't defend well enough. He's okay when he's intercepting a pass. He's okay when he's in the air. But as soon as you run at him, as soon as you put a ball by the side of him, if he cannot reach it with those daddy long legs, game over. And how many times did we see Brereton get through tonight? It was a joke. And Debussy, like I said, playing right centre-back, but he's so used to playing, on the right side throughout his career. It feels like he almost forgets that he's meant to be sitting back as a defender. He was playing at right wing at sometimes. He was right up against with Theo Walcott. It's just mind-blowing. He's a centre-back today. He's a centre-back. You don't see Koscielny playing right wing. You don't see Mustafi doing that. You don't see Monreal doing that on the left side. It's because you don't do that. If you're a three at the back, sure, you can move forward a little bit. Maybe stay a bit more central, but you can ping a few passes. But you don't go running down the right wing and wondering why Theo hasn't got back to cover you. Because Theo doesn't do that. Okay, and then when you've got Nelson as well, who was playing right wing back, I guess you could call it, or right mid, he's not going to get back and defend. And even if he does, he's a teeny little guy. He's not going to be able to fend off some of the Forest attackers. I just thought our defence was absolutely shocking tonight. And although we conceded some really, very special goals, that second goal from Lehigh was just unbelievable. And there's nothing the defence can do about that other than clear it better. Holding with the clearance was very poor. He headed it straight to him. So, if I was to give the ratings to our defence, I mean, we're talking 2s and 3s out of 10. It really was very poor. Willock in midfield with El Neni. Willock got taken off in the second half, but really didn't do much in this game. El Neni, I think he's one of those players that isn't good enough. He isn't. He's a sideways player. He's a back passer. He's got a good shot on him. I know that he can really hit a ball. He's good at that, and he's a calm player. He's quite good with the ball at his feet, but he's not going to win us the Premier League. He's not going to get into our first team anytime soon, is he? He's another player that, we bought him just because. He looked okay, let's get him in as a squad player. So just disappointed with El Neni tonight. Nelson on the right, barely got a sniff. I think we've seen, elements of really good quality from him since he's kind of broken into the team every now and again. But tonight, really didn't have any chances to shine. Maitland-Niles was okay. He's been really good for us lately. I don't really need to talk about him too much. I think today he was probably one of our better players. And then we had Theo Walcott, Iwobi and Welbeck. 3 players that need to be sold. I said it. Welbeck, yes, he may have got his goal today, but how lucky was that goal? How lucky was our first goal as well? The fact that it just found the back of the net through all those players with Mertesacker. Basically, the only thing Mertesacker did today was score. I think that Theo is well past it. There's one thing he's always had in his career that made him so, or maybe not so good, but better than some other players, and that's his pace. He doesn't have that anymore. And it's a shame. He got his injury, a really serious injury, and a lot of players don't bounce back from that injury like they were before. Some do, but technically, you'd be looking at the list of players that have recovered and almost come back better. They're not known as being an athlete. They're passers. They're technical players. But Theo, he's a runner. He's a runner, and he's lost that. He's got to be sold. £140,000 per week. £140,000 per week. Iwobi, love the guy. He's a joker. I'm sure everyone loves him at the club. Sometimes he shows that he's got that ability. Not good enough. He isn't good enough. He's got to be sold. I don't think Iwobi's got a future at Arsenal. And I know I keep saying how I don't like the way he plays. I think that we still don't know his best position. He's never ever got the final pass, the final finish. He's never got that quality. He's got to go then, isn't he? There's no point carrying these players. Iwobi should be doing better. He should be. He plays a lot for us right now. He's in and out of the team consistently enough. He's getting enough minutes to show us what he's got. And tonight is the perfect night for him. And he once again showed, out of position all the time, by the way. He was basically playing centre mid most of this game. And he just wasn't doing anything. He wasn't doing anything. He doesn't add anything to the team. And I love the guy. And I don't think we should just panic sell him. I think maybe give him another season. And if he's still not proving how good he is or showing any promise whatsoever, then you let him go. He'll be brilliant at a team like Crystal Palace or, hell, even a Nottingham Forest. He'd be brilliant there. He really would. And then we move on to Danny Welbeck, who, he's come from Man United. And it was an interesting one that I thought he's a bit of a utility player. He can play on the left. He can play on the right. He can play up front. But sell him. Sell him. We don't need Danny Welbeck. He's not good enough. He just isn't. He's not good enough. He doesn't... He can't even control his own legs, let alone the ball. He's always falling over. His first touch is abysmal. Just sell them. Sell these dead wood players. We don't need Theo. We don't need Welbeck. We don't need El Neni. We don't need Mertesacker. I know he's retiring at the end of the season, but then we need to replace him. We don't need Debussy. Holding isn't good enough at the moment. Why wasn't Chambers playing? I don't know. Where were some of the better quality players? They were just told to have a rest. And I get that. We've had a lot of games recently, but this is the FA Cup. You don't play your kids in the FA Cup unless you think they're going to get the job done. Yes, maybe Wenger thought they would, but they didn't, did they? And we got smashed 4-2. 4-2. It wasn't even a 1-0. It wasn't even a 2-1. Yes, we had a couple of decisions go against us tonight. I don't think it was a penalty. I think Debussy made a great tackle, and the penalty itself looked a bit dodgy. I think he may have touched it twice, which is obviously against the rules, but even so, they were beating us fair and square at that point. They'd had the better game. They deserved to win. I'm going to end it there because there's no point in going on about it. We're out of the FA Cup. We now have to focus on the Europa League. We're not going to win the Premier League. If we don't win the Europa League, this season has been well and truly shocking already, even if we make it into the top 4, which I don't think we will. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate all of you watching these videos. I know a lot of you aren't even Arsenal fans, but maybe you enjoy listening to my thoughts. But I will see you next time.